class. The experience with standard-based grading was actually really good. In my previous math classes, I have never gotten better than a C, and that's kind of what I aim for, just because I always thought I was super bad at math. But this year, I finished the first semester with an A+. It was really good. It made me feel like I could do better in math than I thought I could, which is nice.
I currently have Algebra 1 with standard-based grading, and I really like it. It's gone well so far. I really like it. I don't know if it was a combination of just the teacher and the standard-based grading, or just the grading or something, but it went really well, and I usually don't do well at math, and this year I'm doing very well.
I enjoyed knowing exactly which outcomes that I hadn't fully mastered and being able to retake them until I did master them. There's nothing so far that I've disliked about standard-based grading.
Standard-based grading is easier to me because it allows me to work at my own pace.
I like that you could retake tests. If you didn't do good or you failed the test, you could just go in during AL and retake it if you needed to.
Process. I like how, if you didn't pass the first time, then you could always go back and retake it, and that allowed me to get an A, because if we weren't allowed to retake it, I would honestly probably have an F. But I have an A, so.
What I like about SBG was the fact that we could always retake outcomes whenever we wanted to, and if we failed them or got a 2 or a 1, we could always retake them, and I'd always understand it afterwards because I'd retake it so many times. It just get ingrained in my head. Now I have 100% in the class, and I'm happy.
The grading process is easy to understand once you start taking tests and actually start doing things. When you first walk in, on the first day of school, it's really intimidating.
To me. Okay, so there's specific outcomes. For math, there's one is can you graph a function or something like that? And if you got it perfect, you get a 3. But if you're almost there but not quite, you just get a 2. And then a 1 is if you really need to ask for help and you need to talk to your teacher about that and understand it. And then there's a 0, which means you probably didn't do the work at all. And so that's pretty easy. And then there's the power outcomes, which you need to pass. Otherwise, you don't pass the class at all. And then there's just the regular outcomes, which determine if your grade is a C, B, or A.
For people who don't have all the power outcomes passed, it says not yet, and then it says the grade that you would have if you were passing. I think they should change that to something else, because there are a few people who thought, oh, then it's no big deal. It is a big deal because not yet means you're failing the class.
If I could change anything about standard-based grading, I would change the grade book so that you can see your percent in the class and not just your letter grade.
What are they called?
The grade book was very clear to understand, and you were able to tell what badges you had mastered and what you had not. Also, it showed you what your overall grade was in the class and what you would have.
Yeah, the grade book was really easy to follow. Personally, I got 3s on everything, so I got mastered and starred, So if you get 3s on everything, you'll get you'll get 100% in the class, and it's a lot easier to do that if you know what you're missing.
DJ, I think it was pretty easy to follow because you could see what you needed to work on and what you needed to pass.
I don't feel like I learned more during standards-based grading, but I do feel that I've learned more at my own pace, which makes it a lot easier to comprehend the material.
With standard-based grading, I have an A because I got to work at my own pace.
Most definitely, yes, because as I'm doing it, if there's something that I don't understand, in a regular system, if there's something that you didn't understand, you have to take the assessment, and then you'll be like, oh, I just failed this assessment, and the teacher will have to move on because they're just like, sorry, I have to move on, we already learned this. But in this grading system, if there's something that you don't understand, then you get to learn it as you go. You can go up during AL and ask your teacher, and then come back and reassess on it when you finally completely understand it, so that haunting grade isn't sticking with you, because the point is that you need to know it, and if you know it, you should be getting a good grade on it.
I feel that standards-based grading is a lot easier to understand what skills I have mastered and have not mastered, because it specifically tells me.
It was definitely easier to figure out what I didn't know, because it literally told you, hey, you don't know this, if you didn't. And so if I didn't know that, then I would go back, I would relearn it, go up ask my teacher about it until I finally knew it, and then I would go in, reassess, get a better grade, and then get 100%.
In traditional grading, it doesn't tell you like what part of the problem you missed, it just tells you got it wrong. And on standard-based grading, like it kind of shows you what you did wrong and what you need to practice. So I think standard-based grading is a lot easier to know what you need to do and which way to.
Standards-based grading did make me want to do better, because I had mostly 3s on my outcomes, and when I had a 2 or a 1, I wanted to redo it so I could have a 3 in that as well.
Badges definitely did help, because when I was like scrolling through the page, making sure like, hey, do I have this? It was just like, if it didn't have one there, I'll be like, oh, gotta reassess on that one.